a growing understanding of a movement called FBA.
Okay.
Pan-Africanism and FBA. How do they contrast or complement one another?
Okay. Well, first of all, Pan-Africanism is the black man's oldest formal political ideology. We gave birth to the first free, independent black nation in the world, Haiti, right? Pan-Africanists are some of your greatest black leaders, your greatest black organizers. If you're looking at achievements, nobody compares to Pan-Africanists. Nobody. Hebrews, Moors, Nawapians, Gods and Earths, Nation of Islam, I love them all. Nobody compares to Pan-Africanism. If you want to go achievement for achievement, you can put all them together. You don't touch us. Okay? And I say that respectfully, but it's the truth. Okay. ADOSFBA, respectfully, I'm going to go with both groups because they represent basically the same thing, but there are differences, right? So ADOS.
Which is a descendant of slavery.
No, they're first. FBA comes later.
Okay.
Okay, but they both exist. FBA is more popular, right?
Okay.
ADOSFBA. I don't have a problem with the American African people seeing the need to make it clear to other branches of the global African family that when you come here, you need to be clear that we built the house and rolled out the carpet for you. Be respectful in my home the same way you would want for me to be respectful in your home. So the concept of that American African identity, I have no issue with it. It needs to be done. It needs to be said. This is not new. What is new about it is the adversarial stance that they are taking towards African immigrants who come here from the diaspora, and the energy that they give them, the negative energy that they give them, which supersedes the negative energy you give to the white man who enslaved you then and oppresses you now. There's nothing a continental African immigrant can do to me that can supersede what the white man has done to me. There's nothing a Caribbean, Central South American African immigrant can do to me that can exceed what the white man has done to me. So why is it I can have so much vitriol, hatred, disrespect, animosity towards someone who looks like me just because they came from another place, when the white man who's responsible for my hell here, I'm never giving him half that energy. And then on top of that, it's contradictory in this way. You still identify with the white man. You are a black American? Since when? So you'll call yourself an American, but you'll never call yourself an African. Think about that now. After all I've been through in this country, I'm still going to wave their flag. After all I've been through in this country, I'm still going to use their colors. After everything I've been through in this country, I'm still going to identify with the plantation and call myself an American. So I don't have an issue with the concept. I take issue with the strategies and
what about if someone is saying that, all right, we look at anyone that is putting in our place and getting access to resources that belong to us because they built their core wealth off coerced labor from our people, but you can come in as an African, as a quote unquote immigrant, and get certain access to things that maybe the foundational black Americans, what they call themselves, believe that, that's our stuff. And so I don't look at the African any different than I look at any other, ethnic group that comes over and tries to take that place.
If that's the case, where is your campaign against the Latinos? Because I don't see it. Where's your campaign against the Caucasian immigrants? I don't see it. Where's your campaign against the South Asian and North Asian immigrants? I don't see it.
But see, what I think fragmented everything is the reparation talk. And so I think the reparation talk, a lot of the foundational, and I'm, I could be speaking out of school, but my limited understanding of it is, I think that they believe that the reparations belong to descendants of slaves.
Well, I'm going to say this as a Pan-Africanist, because we invented the reparations fight. It don't come from FBA. It don't come from ADOS. This was around before they were born. You feel me? Yes. Pan-Africanists gave birth to it. Reparations for me is not about different groups and sects of the race fighting for their crumb off the big pie. There should be one fight, one reparation. Do you feel me, Loon? We can split it up how we want to split it up after we get it. But by you fighting divided for the same restitution, you playing right into the hands of your enemy. There was one slavery, took some of us to the Caribbean. There was one slavery, took some of us to the Americas. There was one slavery, took some of us to Central and South America, right? But there was one African slavery. So the Africans of the world, from the continent to the British, Canada had slavery, Australia had it, right? We should all come and sit down. Let's fight this together.
See, I think they reject
You
that.
would get it quicker.
Yeah.
You would get more, because guess what? It's a united front. But because we hate each other more than we hate racism, because we hate each other more than we hate racism, I don't want to unite with no black Africans. I don't want to unite with no Caribbeans. And you got Africans saying the same thing. I don't want to unite with no descendants of no slaves, right? I want to fight my own thing. So ECOWAS got their own fight. Black British got their own fight. Canada got their own fight. Black America got their own fight. And it's sectionalized, sectarian.
That's what I'm saying.
Nobody communicating with each other. So the white man going to play his old game of what? Divide and conquer, separate and rule.
That's why I wanted to have a conversation about the FBA and the Pan-Africanism, because that's what's going on. Although I hear when you speak, although you're a Pan-Africanist, I hear some of the stuff I hear from foundational black Americans.
Well, remember, there's nothing wrong with advocating the rights of your unique group. A Pan-Africanist in South Africa can speak up for South Africans and still recognize the greater vision and greater goal of a united race. You see that? So as Pan-Africanists, we don't just focus on the whole. That's the goal, but we also got to take care of our people where we are. So I don't have an issue with the American African people having a black agenda for themselves that they need to carry out. It's only when you start criminalizing and antagonizing other Africans as if they're responsible for the condition you in. Loon, there's only 3 million African immigrants in this country. They are not the group most responsible for siphoning off from your set-asides. Right. You know who that would be? White women, homosexuals, and Latinos, who they rarely ever talk about.
And you know,
and let me also say this, Loon. Let us be honest. What do we know about the psychology of oppression? The victim often imitates the victimizer. The oppressed often imitates the oppressor. What do I mean by that, Loon? I don't want to be the most oppressed person. I got to find somebody and put them beneath me so I can look down on them and mistreat them. And it's back and forth between black Africa and black America. A lot of this is victim consciousness. I don't want to be the lowest, so I'm going to victimize and step on the American African. I don't want to be the lowest, so I want to victimize and step on the African immigrant, because in America, we're the lowest. We are the lowest in the social order. I'm not saying we internalize that.
Right.
I'm saying that's the white agenda.
Yes.
We don't want to be the lowest. So rather than build myself up, my hospitals, my schools, my banks, my trains, my import-export, you see that? My industry, my own trade market, stock market, rather than build myself up to compete with everybody else, I'm just going to demonize.
But what if it's about,
so I have somebody lower than me, because I want to do to somebody else what the white man been doing to me. And we all have that disease. I'm speaking universally. Every African group in the world, because remember now, I've met them all. They always looking for somebody to put under their foot. If I can't beat the white man, let them join them by having somebody under me too.
So, but if it's about resources and reparations, so if it's about reparations, right, for Americans, descendants of slaves, because I agree with you. I think it shrinks the coalition when we have, like, you know, ADOS and FBA and Pan-Africanism and regular just black people who ain't
Well,
doing
remember,
none of that.
Pan-Africanism, our focus is the whole. We're the only philosophy in
Inclusive.
the world that is inclusive of everybody. Nobody else has that. They want to make you a Hebrew.
What
they want
strength
to make you a
is
Moor,
that?
They want to make you a Christian. They want to make you a Muslim. We don't have that. We believe in freedom of religion. We are about unity of the race. We see the African race as a family that we want to be cohesive. We play in the long game. And we are the only philosophy that has ever been pointed out by the white man as being a threat to his system. You ain't gonna see no FBA on no documents. You ain't gonna see no ADOS on no documents. You ain't gonna see no Hebrew, no Moor, no Nawapi, and none of that. And I love them all. But what the white man said in his security memorandum was what? We cannot allow the black African and the black American to unite at all, culturally, economically, or politically. If they do, that would significantly undermine our global agenda.
Yeah, see, you're looking at it from a global
Africanism
perspective.
is the threat, not this other crap. You don't care about none of that stuff. That's just smoke and mirrors. People
You're
need
looking at it from a
followers.
global perspective. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're the only thing he worried about.
Right. Yeah, yeah. So, do you agree, though, that black Americans deserve reparations? And if so, who has to
Africans
play?
deserve reparations.
So, for what happened in America?
Well, remember, slavery happened to the race. That's where we're going to, you see, that's where the disagreements come in. Because slavery didn't happen to black America. Slavery happened to Africans wherever they were taken. What they did to me here is no different than what they did to me in Costa Rica.
But America don't have to pay for that. We saying if America says we're giving reparations for what happened to black people in America, who does that go to?
I disagree. Let me clarify. There is no America until July 4th, 1776. But my ancestors got here under British North American slavery, not the Spanish. They were there first, right? But Spanish don't control the United States of America, right? Anglo-Saxons do. America was born of the 13 British colonies, right? That was born July 4th, 1776, Loon. So under whose control and dominion were we from 1619 until 1776? The British. Am I wrong? Who Jamaica want reparations from? The British. Do you see where I'm going with this? Who Ghana want reparations from? The British. Who Nigeria want reparations from? The British. So for the American African, to your point, Loon, from 1776 until the present, that's the USA. But from 1619 to 1776, that's the British Empire.
See? And it's the same land. You see? And that's why I think the conversation has to be had. Because
I think the point you're leaving out, there's a self-hate aspect to this too. And I know the ADOS FBAs, they're not the pretendians. And I say that respectfully, because at least with the ADOS FBAs, they admit their ancestors came from Africa. They just are of the opinion that that don't matter no more. I don't know how you get there, because as the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey said, a people without knowledge of themselves is like a tree without roots. I would love to see an FBA history book for their kids. I would love to see an ADOS FBA history book for children. If they ever build an ADOS FBA school, how are y'all going to treat identity in history? Because y'all cutting yourself off from your root, and you identifying with a man who's trying to get rid of you. That's the weakness of the movement, Loon.
who is that they're identifying with?
Say that again.
Who is that they are identifying with this
Americans.
Okay.
Both of them call themselves Americans. Both groups. So they're identifying with the plantation.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Okay, yes.
But they're cutting themselves off from the ancestors. You see that? To me, that is the greatest shortcoming of that movement. Ain't nobody taking me from my African roots. I don't give a damn what game y'all want to play, but you ain't doing that. There's spiritual ramifications for that. There's political ramifications for that. There's economic ramifications for that. And let's go political, Loon. Only an idiot will cut themselves off from a meaningful relationship with other nations. You cannot survive in this world without allies. Do you understand me? Especially when you are a numerical minority. Why did Cuba How did Cuba survive America, being 90 miles off the coast, Loon? Because Cuba had Russia, an international ally. The American African people need Africans as allies. We need our Caribbean brothers and sisters as allies. We need our South and Central American brothers and sisters as allies, not enemies.
Yes.
So you mean to tell me you fighting the white man who's the enemy, and I'm going to make an enemy out of all my black brothers and sisters around the world? That is insane.
Yeah, I don't
And it's not one-sided. I want to be clear, Loon. African immigrants are just as guilty of this sectionalism and division. I want to be very clear because I've seen the feed. People send them to me. It is. I'm not saying that ADOS FBAs are more liable for the racial divide. They're not. It's equal. Some of the stuff I've seen continental Africans say about American Africans is unacceptable. And some of the things I've seen us say about them is unacceptable. So I'm not giving one side more blame than the other. They're equally wrong.
Yes. And you know, I think when I look at it, when I look at all of the movements together, you know, I'm just concerned that we do have a lot of infighting. But with that being said,
Well, that's okay because I'm bringing the solution to this. Since we're knocking on the door of FDMG being ready, there needs to be a progressive American African movement that looks out for the best interests of the American African people, that does not demonize our brothers and sisters abroad, and that looks to build relationships with them as far as that can be done. So my movement to counteract the negativity of these movements we're discussing is going to be the DAFA movement. DAFA, descendants of African freedmen in America. Remember, Loon, after freedom came, we were known as what? Freedmen. That was a legal classification. We were the freedmen. My 3 times great-grandfather George fought in the Civil War. My 4 times great-grandfather Steve fought in the Civil War. My cousins Lewis and Charles, the sons of Frederick Douglass, fought in the Civil War. I'm a descendant of freedmen who fought to keep this country from being divided. And we have rights as freedmen, so we're fighting as descendants of African, not no American. You ain't never putting that in no title, no organization of mine. Descendants of African freedmen in America.
I like that. Do you think you're going to get pushback for even launching that?
It don't matter. I'm stronger than both of them groups put together.
Okay. Now, with that being said, I do believe that reparations, the debt is lineage specific. So I don't want to remove the point. Like I like how you put it, right? That before America was America, there were the same behavior. Yeah. So, but I think the British should pay for that.
Yes.
Or did you say what the funds transferred
part
to?
Of your reparations is coming from who? The British. And if we go 1619, right, to 1719, that's 100 years. And then 1719 to 1776, that's like almost 60. So 160 years of your 250. Guess what? Most of your time in American slavery was under the British, not the Americans. Did you see that?
Yeah.
We just did the math. Yeah. Most of your time enslaved in America was under the British. Is it not common sense, Loon, to unite with my African brothers and sisters in Ghana, in Malawi, in Nigeria, in Jamaica, in other places around the British Empire who are fighting for the same thing when we are all kith and kin anyway? Does it make sense for me to be at odds with a Jamaican who may very well be my blood cousin? Does it make sense for me to be at odds with a Nigerian who might very well be my blood uncle? Loon, we are fighting with people who may very well be from your same ancestral line. That is ridiculous. And we don't fight white people half as much as we fight each other. And that goes for us and the African side.
Yeah.
I'm disappointed in both sides, bro.
Yeah.
For me, there's only one tribe, and that's the Pan-Africanist tribe. You are either for all Africans or you are for no African.
That's a.
But see, the reason I have to come forward with the DAFA movement is many American Africans who agree with some of what they're hearing, but don't want to be part of the conflict and the division. But they say, I either got to go
it's a lot of that.
I got to go FBA.
Yeah.
Both of them antagonize African immigrants. I don't want the antagonism, but I do understand the need for us because we have a unique history that nobody else has, right? But I ain't got nowhere to go, so they're being forced to join movements that they don't fully want to support because they don't agree with the negativity. So I'm going to come with the movement where, yes, we're going to do our thing as the American African people and still link up with the general race.
So you have a solution. Your solution based in your approach to it. Because I know you see it like me. I'm new on Twitter. And just getting on Twitter, some of the ideas they throw around, I'm like, okay, I see where they going with. I see where they taking the culture. But here's the part of it that I don't find to be appealing. Is that 24 hours a day, there's a space going on. A space, for people who don't know, is on Twitter, where you open up a room and you have these conversations. You bring people on stage and you have conversations among one another.
And they just going at it. Toxicity all day long. I can't support that.
Me not change up. Remember the struggle when me have a water coming on me eye. Nothing can face us. Me pray them all like I used to cook the banana and oil. Depression never break us. We face the tribulation every day, but